You get a text from a stranger. Wrong number, they say. It's friendly, harmless. And by the time you realize what's happening, your life savings are sitting in a crypto wallet somewhere in Myanmar, and the person you trusted was never free to begin with. This is pig butchering, and right now it is the fastest growing financial fraud on the planet. Let's go back to the beginning, because this scam doesn't start with greed. It starts with loneliness. Somewhere in your city, on an ordinary afternoon, your phone buzzes, a message from an unknown number. Hey, are you coming to the dinner on Saturday? You reply that they have the wrong number. They apologize, sweetly, charmingly, and then, almost as an afterthought, they say something like, "Oh, how funny. Well, since we're talking, how are you doing?" That's the opening move, and it has been used on hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. The stranger, let's call her Amy, is warm, attentive, and fascinating. She mentions she works in finance. She's well-traveled. She asks about your life with what feels like genuine curiosity. Over days, sometimes weeks, a real emotional bond forms. You look forward to her messages. You trust her. And here's the detail that doesn't emerge until much later, the detail that changes everything. Amy may not be a willing participant in any of this. We'll come back to that, because it reframes the entire story. For now, here's what's happening on your end. After weeks of warm conversation, Amy mentions almost casually that she's been making remarkable returns on a cryptocurrency investment platform. She's not pushy about it. She doesn't ask you for anything. She just mentions it. And when you express curiosity, she walks you through it, step by step, like a trusted friend sharing a secret. She helps you set up an account on what looks like a legitimate trading platform. Maybe the website looks polished and professional. Maybe it even shows real market data. You deposit a small amount, just to try. And within days, you see gains. Real gains, or so it appears. You can log in and watch your balance climb. This is the fattening phase. The term pig butchering, translated from the Chinese phrase Sha Zhu Pan, is exactly what it sounds like. The victim is the pig. The scammers are patient farmers. And they are feeding you trust, manufactured profits, and false hope until you are ready to be slaughtered. Now here's where the psychology becomes almost surgical. The platform is fake. Every number you see, every gain, every return is fabricated. But it looks real because the scammers have invested serious money and technical sophistication into making it look real. Some of these operations have customer service lines, withdrawal interfaces, and even fake regulatory certificates. You decide to invest more. Amy encourages you, gently, never desperately. You invest more again. Your balance keeps climbing. At some point, perhaps you try to withdraw a small amount, and it works. That's intentional. That's proof of concept. Now you're fully committed, and then you invest everything. The moment you try to withdraw a significant sum, the platform invents a reason you can't. A tax hold, a verification fee, a regulatory requirement. You pay it. There's another fee. You pay that too. And then, one day, the platform is simply gone. Amy's number no longer exists, and the money, hundreds of thousands of dollars in documented cases, sometimes entire retirement accounts, is gone with it. The FBI and the U.S. Secret Service have confirmed that Americans alone lost over $3.5 billion to this type of fraud in 2023. Global estimates from organizations tracking financial crime put total losses above $10 billion annually. These are not isolated incidents. This is an industry. And now we come back to the part I told you we'd return to. Because here is the twist that makes this story unlike almost any other financial crime. The people running these conversations, the Amys, the Davids, the charming strangers, are, in a significant number of documented cases, themselves victims. Investigative reporting by Reuters, the BBC, and the Associated Press, along with testimony before the U.S. Senate, has established that large-scale pig butchering operations are frequently run out of scam compounds in Southeast Asia, particularly in Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos, where workers are recruited through fake job advertisements promising legitimate employment, then held against their will and forced to run scams under threat of violence. Think about what that means. The person manipulating you into financial ruin may themselves be a trafficking victim who hasn't seen their family in months, who is being beaten if their numbers don't perform, who desperately wants out and has no way to get there. This is not a defense of fraud. The harm to victims is real and devastating, but it does explain why this scam is so remarkably effective at building genuine emotional connection, because in some cases, the person on the other end is a real human being in real distress, reading from scripts and performing under coercion. So who is actually running this? Law enforcement agencies, the UN Office on Drugs and Crime, and multiple investigative outlets point to sophisticated organized crime syndicates, many linked to individuals operating in the legal gray zones of border territories in Southeast Asia. The infrastructure behind these operations is staggering. Organized training programs, fake company names, shifting crypto wallets designed to launder money across dozens of transactions before it can be traced. The cryptocurrency element is not accidental. Crypto transactions, once completed, are essentially irreversible. There are no chargebacks, no fraud departments, no bank you can call. The money moves fast, gets broken up, and disappears into a chain of wallets that investigators can see but often cannot reach. So what do you actually do to protect yourself? First, and this is the most important thing, any unsolicited contact that eventually leads to an investment opportunity is a red flag, full stop. It doesn't matter how long the relationship built up. It doesn't matter how legitimate the platform looks. If someone you met online is pointing you toward any financial platform you hadn't heard of before them, stop. Second, verify independently. If a platform claims to be registered with the SEC, FINRA, or any regulatory body, you can check that directly on those agencies' official websites. Legitimate platforms survive scrutiny. Fake ones dissolve when you look closely. Third, run any investment platform through the CFTC's or FTC's fraud alert databases before depositing a single dollar. In some cases, these platforms are already flagged before new victims ever find them. And perhaps the most counterintuitive point of all, the fact that you've already invested money does not mean you should invest more to recover it. That logic, the sunk cost, is precisely what these operations count on. The additional fees, the recovery payments, the tax holds, they are all part of the harvest. Pig butchering is expanding. It has been documented in the United States, the UK, Canada, Australia, India, and across Europe. Its victims are not naive or financially unsophisticated. They are teachers, engineers, retirees, and executives who were simply targeted at a vulnerable moment with extraordinary patience and precision. The wrong number text is just the door. Behind it is one of the most elaborate, well-funded, and psychologically sophisticated fraud operations in modern history, one that exploits both its victims and, increasingly, its own operators. If you or someone you know has been targeted, report it to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center at ic3.gov and the FTC at reportfraud.ftc.gov. Reporting matters, not because the money always comes back, but because every report helps investigators map these networks and reach the people trapped inside them. If this video helped you understand a threat you'd never heard of before, subscribe. We publish a new financial crime investigation every week. And drop a comment below. Did you or someone you know ever receive one of these wrong number texts? I'd genuinely like to know how widespread this is in our audience.